Red, this is Interceptor 1. It's going down. I repeat, the bogey is going down.
A large portion of Americans on both sides of the aisle are now really looking down at the idea of democracy, more supportive of authoritarian measures, and unfortunately more willing to engage in violence in order to carry out their political goals.
Let's do this, Matt.
What is the alternative system that you guys want to try? Like, that's what I want to know. You want a monarchy? You want a dictatorship? You want a monarchy? You want a dictatorship?
You better walk, bitch.
You want a monarchy?
You want a Bugatti?
You want a dictatorship?
You better walk, bitch.
I mean, it's absurd.
Absurd.
And also, just like the oblivious nature of what they're asking for here, because it's absurd.
Absurd.
They think, no, the dictatorship that we implement is obviously gonna be great to us and terrible to the other side. They think, no. They think it's absurd.
Absurd.
They think you want a monarchy?
You want a hot body?
You want a dictatorship?
You better walk, bitch.
You want a monarchy?
You want a Bugatti?
You want a
You
dictatorship?
better walk, bitch.
The dictatorship that we implement is obviously gonna be great to us and terrible to the other side. Terrible to the other side. No.
Yeah. So
Okay.
look, guys, is super scary.
Super scary.
Society is fraying.
Deteriorating, decaying right in front of our eyes.
But the second reason why these things are devastating, these numbers are, is because Democrats,
Republicans
what are you
are
doing?
Monsters.
I mean, I get the Republicans saying some of this stuff, and I fight against it every day, but
Republicans are monsters.
let's start with this first one. 24% of Biden supporters saying that democracy is no longer viable and an alternative system should be tried. Okay, if you're a Republican, I get it. Like,
Republicans are monsters.
but if you're a Democrat, what alternate system? What are we gonna do if it's not democracy? I don't even understand what you're saying. Like even if you're young and you say, okay, socialism, but wait a minute, that's the economic model. That doesn't have anything to do with the political model. What would we do? Socialism without a democracy? That just becomes a dictatorship instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hard no.
Republicans
hard
are
pass.
monsters.
Yeah, no, hard pass.
Listen, we obviously have issues in our liberal democracy, but liberal democracy is lit, okay?
But liberal democracy is lit. Okay. Yeah.
The idea that we should just throw that out the window because we have flaws in our current system that need to be reformed is insane to me, absolutely egregious.
Guys, the minute you suspend an election is the minute
Republicans are monsters.
It's a disastrous idea. Look, we fight against the right wing that says these stuff. If you're on the left, you should never be saying things like this.
Well, get a load of this. Nearly half of Biden supporters, 47%, and 35% of Trump supporters said the government should restrict the expression of views considered discriminatory or offensive.
Oh, come on.
Disagree.
47% more than the Republicans?
47%?
More than the Republicans are monsters. But wow, 41% of Biden supporters, what violence are you gonna do?
What violence are you gonna do?
That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life.
I do think that we're all segregated by our media filters. And the media, because of this competitive environment and the for-profit model, right?
Republicans.
What it leads to is the two sides, which represent the two political parties, engaging in increasingly inflammatory, fear-mongering rhetoric about the other side. And so,
monsters.
That has kind of informed my decision to bring the temperature down. That's not to say that I agree with everyone on the right.
Sure, Jan.
It's not to say that there aren't individuals on the right who
are monsters.
Preach and advocate for things that I think are incredibly dangerous and yes, violent and anti-democratic. But I think there's a way to talk about those things without inciting fear and absolute violence and hatred for the entirety of the other side. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. And look, but part of that process is calling out your own side.
Yeah.
So if all you do is they're the bad guys and we're awesome, when they say violence, they're evil and demonic, monsters. But when we say violence is righteous and beautiful, then you lost a thread. Then you have no principles, you have no consistency. And so then that
creates more division and it devolves the situation worse and it entrenches people into they're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil? You don't negotiate with it, you attack, and that's where we are today. So they're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil? Attack, and attack, and attack, and attack, and the Republicans come in for a shellacking. I'm giving no quarter. That's not the point, guys. They're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil?
Fear and absolute violence and hatred.
Monsters driving division. Those guys are the bad guys. They're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil?
Fear and absolute violence and hatred.
They're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil? Attack, and attack. And Republicans are monsters. I'm giving no quarter. That's not the point, guys.
Monsters.
Violence and hatred. Fear, violence and hatred. Fear.
Monsters.
They're evil, you're evil. And what do you do with evil? Attack, 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 and attack, 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 and attack.
But no one ever clarifies. So because the mainstream media is invested in the corruption, they go,
no, if you stand against corrupt politicians, then you're against democracy.
no, brother, don't do that. Don't do that. When you conflate those two things, this is what happens. We start to fray and everybody goes, okay, then I'm done with the system. I guess I don't like democracy. No,
No, no.
Yeah, okay.
monsters.
A fusion Chinese-Mexican dish.
Where's the Chinese in this?
Isn't like fish kind of Chinese?
Is fish Chinese?
Once upon a time, in time a prince would come. Once upon a time, but now that time is gone.
You just watched a teaser for Snow White and the Evil Queen, an upcoming feature film by the Daily Wire. In fact, it's starring one of their own hosts, Ben Shapiro's doppelganger, as she's often referred to, Brett Cooper. Now, just like all of the other remakes that have basically involved some cultural changes, the Daily Wire didn't like the live action remake for Snow White, which is starring a woman, an actress who's 22 years old. Her name's Rachel Zegler, and she is Colombian and Polish. She considers herself a white Latina.
Latinos don't want to be called Latinx. A white Latina, but
nonetheless, the Daily Wire decided to provide their own version, their response, if you will. Own. First and foremost, conservatives are mad that Snow White is being played by Rachel Zegler. So I have some comments in response to her comments, and some people might not like it, but that's okay.
Don't worry, I'm gonna balance it out by making fun of the right wing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
True love is awesome. True love is lit. Guys, true love is what keeps me grounded and able to do this job, which some days is incredibly hellish. True love means you get to share your life with a partner. Having someone in your life that you love and loves you back and supports you makes everything else in life better. So don't let people convince you that like, no. Having those personal, loving, intimate relationships
doesn't matter at all.
No. In fact, you should like look down at that and instead be like, I don't know.
Doesn't matter at all.
But Anna, I don't think that's the critique that they have of the old Snow White. Wait till I get to funnier revelations about what I think of Snow White.
She was poisoned by that bitch witch.
Snow White.
She was poisoned by that bitch witch. That bitch witch.
Snow White.
She was poisoned by that bitch witch.
Snow White.
She was poisoned by that bitch witch. That bitch witch. Okay. All right. She's unconscious. Okay, as a result of that. That bitch witch. And then a hot prince shows up, gives her a little kiss, a little smooch, and she wakes up. Great, who cares? That bitch witch.
A white Latina.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure that
Oh no, women, your agency is being questioned. Oh no, women, your agency is being questioned. Come on, man, come on. You know what? Sometimes a dude comes around and does save you. So what?
Doesn't matter at all.
Oh, okay, well, God bless.
Really, we're gonna like, how dare we portray men as the saviors in some cases?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's so
okay.
dumb. All of this is so dumb.
Doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with true love.
Of course.
And sometimes a woman rescues you, and sometimes a man rescues you.
Totally.
Sometimes someone straight rescues you, sometimes someone gay rescues you. White, black, who cares? We're all human, you schmucks. So when Brett Cooper,
No one says her name like that.
Anyway, when Brett Cooper turns around, I'm like, I literally thought for half a second.
Is that Ben Shapiro in drag?
No, come on.
Okay, and then I'm like,
Is
Yes,
this
I get
drag
what you mean.
queen story hour?
is that what this is? Because that would be the funniest thing that ever happened. Because then I would watch it. I would watch it. They'd make a lot of money. Okay, I would recommend that you guys watch it.
She looks so much like Ben Shapiro. It's unbelievable.
It's uncanny. It really
It's
is.
Unbelievable that they're not siblings.
They're not related. Like that's okay, guys. I have an admission to make. It's embarrassing, but I will admit it anyway. For the longest time, I thought Brett Cooper was actually Ben Shapiro's sister, who also makes content on YouTube.
But that's a different person.
But that's a different person.
And she also looks like both Ben Shapiro and Brett Cooper.
It's-
When Brett Cooper, times change. Conservatives, this is when
Okay.
you grab the thing and you cry into it. I don't want times to change.
But Jake, let me counter what you're saying for a second, okay?
Because when a script gets hot in Hollywood, people are like, oh, I'm gonna make it. No, I'm gonna make it. And they both make it at the same
no
time.
Imagination. I think
Right.
that's like the most, to me, that's the most offensive part about all of this. Just the lack of imagination and the laziness.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we can't think of anything new, so why don't we just remake a Disney movie from the 1930s?
100%. But look, but then on the parts of why things have to change, The Honeymooners is a perfect example. So the main punchline in Honeymooners was Ralph Cramden going, to the moon, Alice, to the moon, and everybody laughed out loud. So what were they laughing at? He was gonna punch his wife so hard she'd fly to the moon. And everybody thought that was like a hilarious line back in the day.
They're like, oh man, he's gonna punch her in the face again. And so hard.
So should we still celebrate that?
Doesn't matter at all.
No change, right?
So yeah, oh man, punching your wife in the face is so funny. Remake it exactly like that. Don't change a word.
Yes, sometimes you gotta change things. It's a little awkward. Are we gonna remake 16 Candles and have that Asian character be like the most outrageously offensive character anyone's ever seen? Long Duck Dong?
What? Long Duck Dong.
Long
I
duck
know,
dog.
Jake.
Long Duck Dong. Who?
Doesn't matter at all.
Hansel and Gretel. We made the mistake of watching a remake of that with our kids. A lady seems like she's helping the little kids and they got candy and everything's fun. And then she's gonna We don't need it.
Maybe we do. Maybe sometimes.
Okay, so anyways, like we had slavery, we don't have it anymore. That was good change. Please agree with me. Please
Okay,
agree with
I'm
me.
gonna, and I gotta be honest with you guys. Even me, I'm getting so tired of like the Just give me entertaining, interesting, compelling content without pandering. Okay, without the tokenism. It's so obvious when they engage in the tokenism. What we do with these like remakes, and then like there's all this annoying like. All these annoying changes that I don't even think need to be made. Like I'll give you an example of the dwarfs, right?
The dwarfs, right?
In the remake, they've done away with that for some reason. Okay, so instead of
because it was uncomfortable. Come on.
-1.
Hold on, but little people exist. Like why? It's uncomfortable to see little people?
No. I've said this a billion times. Like so, back in the day, they thought it was hilarious to take little people and you might have seen it in Wolf of Wall Street, and do all sorts of gags with them, like throw them against like a giant dartboard, and all these throwing of the little.
I hated those.
That's not what happens in Snow White, though.
Okay, now in Snow White, you could argue
They're the heroes.
Yeah, that they're the heroes. So I'm just saying, in general, it's not the worst thing in the world if we change some parts of it. And everything is like, it's almost like someone who isn't progressive, who's trying to appeal to young progressives. So they're like,
and you're LGBTQ plus,
Well, I'm okay with that. And you're like,
oh yeah, please stop, okay?
Yeah.
You want to remake a boring thing as perfectly boring as it was originally? Have at it, Hoss. Oh yeah, please stop, okay? Right? And you want to put in Ben Shapiro's doppelganger to freak us out? Have at it, Hoss. Oh yeah, please stop, okay? And by the way, I feel now you see the lib in me. I kind of feel bad for Brett Cooper. Brett Cooper. Okay, so she's a real person with real feelings. Okay.
But come on, but come on.
But come
No, do it
on.
again. Do it again. Do it again. It is uncanny. Uncanny.
We're just playing around. Okay.
Yeah.
So super last thing, I don't think this model is going to work. I almost want it to work because I #freedom. And I like that they're trying something different. So Daily Wire I got no love for with the cast of characters like Matt Walsh and Candace Owens, right? But like Shapiro and Boring, who's their CEO, they want to try to recreate something specifically for right wingers, and they want to keep it in the old ways. I weirdly like the effort. Right? Because just super serve your audience. Yeah.
And I think they're using the culture war as an excuse to do what they actually wanted to do with their careers, which is be
make
in Hollywood.
movies. Yeah, be in Hollywood, make movies, get famous that way.
I gotta read a comment from Jeremy Boring though. He's the co-founder of the Daily Wire, and here's what he has to say about the Snow White remake.
While Disney still uses Walt's name, they have all but abandoned his legacy. Walt Disney loved America. The company he founded seems to think America is systemically racist, and beyond just their content, Disney as a corporation pushes all the worst excesses of the woke left. It would be impossible to overstate just how big a loss this is for Americans who believe in
basic reality.
Really? That big a loss?
But we're
Basic reality doesn't matter at all.
I didn't even realize that was the part you were amused by, but you're right. No, the part I'm amused by is Walt Disney loved America and hated Jews. We keep him just like oh wait, that's awkward. Okay, so remember Walt Disney was wildly anti-Semitic.
Should we keep that part, Ben?
Doesn't matter at all.
This Highgate isn't the one in London, it's a suburb of Adelaide. But it's the advert's last sentence that brought out a local TV reporter's crusading instincts.
You think it's wrong?
Even the agent himself, he said, I can have my sign up. If we get a buyer, I can sell it.
But you won't sell it to an Asian person?
If they come up with a buyer, yes. All they're interested about is just to put the sign up.
What would... Oh no, agents. you know what you're...
The Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in Gaza City has been struck by an airstrike, killing anywhere between 200 to 500 people. Now, the story is still developing, and there are conflicting narratives about what actually transpired. And out of an abundance of caution, I will note that we should wait for an independent party to conduct an investigation, and we should not just believe what the IDF says, considering their track record of literally lying about certain instances of killing innocent people. But nonetheless, the IDF refuses to take responsibility for this, claiming that they did quick analysis just right away.
That's you.
I want to be clear that we have condemned Hamas and their terror attacks on Israeli civilians on this show. I have no problem doing so. And I wouldn't take what Hamas has to say at face value either. And I wouldn't take what Hamas has to say at face value either. However. But Cenk, what are your thoughts on what's currently transpiring here?
So let me be clear. I don't believe the idea. Ooh, wow, ooh, wow, wow, ooh, wow, ooh, wow, wow, ooh, wow, ooh, wow, wow, ooh, wow, ooh, wow, wow. No, we didn't bomb it. Okay. No, we didn't bomb it. Okay. Are you saying that you trust the Taliban over the American government? Right? Yeah, no, and do you believe the terrorists? They prove that it was someone else, then we'll come out back here and tell you, oh, it turns out that mystery was solved. But for the moment being, it looks very much like it's IDF. No, we didn't bomb the No, you do believe the terrorists over the American government. And by the way, well played on the propaganda, because it gets at least everyone, including us, to go, maybe it wasn't the IDF. Congratulations on propaganda, well done. Well, they made us bomb the hospital. No, it's okay to bomb the hospital. It's okay. Oh, it's not really an occupation. Oh, they let it go in 2005, 6, 7. Oh, and then they had the election in 7. And so it's not an occupation. Oh, are you kidding? Oh, it's not really an occupation. Believe the terrorists? Are you saying that you trust the Taliban over the American government? Oh, it's not really an occupation.
So one thing I should note, this is important because prior to us going live today, news broke that the IDF discovered a shaft.
Damn right.
So they say
Shaft.
Damn right.
Shaft. Wow, it's a good thing they killed all those innocent civilians inside the hospital.
Yeah.
But it turns out they were lying all along. Oh wow, the IDF is a bunch of liars. Who would have guessed? But in American media, that's like scandalous to say. But over 90% of Democratic politicians say no. I don't care how many Democratic voters want a ceasefire. I don't care how much American voters are crying for a ceasefire. I don't care how many babies are killed. We don't care. No. I don't care how many babies are killed. We don't care. Oh wow, the IDF is a bunch of liars. That's like scandalous to say. No. Don't care. Keep attacking the hospitals. Keep attacking and bombing in our name and with our money. Keep attacking the hospitals. Keep attacking and bombing in our name and with our money. Is it a war crime or is it not a war crime? It's not even close. We're perfectly consistent. We're outraged by the brutal attack that Hamas did against Israel and those civilians. We're also outraged at the government of Israel killing 10 times as many Palestinians as Hamas killed. People in American politics and media will concoct every lie, every excuse, every piece of propaganda to say when our allies kill and murder, it's perfectly okay. It's just self-defense. If the Russians had said that, when Hamas had said that, we would all be outraged. And we'd say that's nonsense, obvious propaganda. Yeah, I think Israel's all right to defend itself by murdering 11,000 civilians. There's something deeply wrong with you. Yeah, obvious propaganda.
awesome.
With urgent need for more aid to reach the civilians of Gaza and responding to calls from the US and much of the international community for humanitarian pauses in fighting, Israel announced Thursday it will implement 4-hour humanitarian pauses daily in the northern Gaza Strip. President Biden also chiming in, confirming there will not be a full ceasefire. Here's the clip.
What are the chances of the Gaza ceasefire? I was going to put him.
But let's first take a break to discuss some of what we just talked about, Cenk.
Okay, but if you notice the offer for the exchange of hostages, we all want the hostages back, right? So sometimes people say, well, why don't you yell at Hamas? Okay, here, I'm officially yelling at Hamas. God damn it, give the hostages back. Okay, that's not gonna work. So why wouldn't we all want the hostages back, right? So instead we're gonna exchange the hostages for some humanitarian aid. But we have to be realistic about how to actually execute that. If you're offering, oh yeah, I'll let you take a lunch break and you give me all the hostages back, you're not gonna get them back. So be realistic. But to be fair, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, none of us do. One last thing, Joe Biden there, pretty callous. So I get that he doesn't want a ceasefire, I totally, utterly disagree with him. I don't think Israel should drop a single more bomb on Gaza or the West Bank or any of the occupied territories, but
they should just give up.
No, so we'll talk about that in a second. But on the other hand, even if you don't want a ceasefire, going
no chance, haha.
Like that's not helpful. And by the way, 2/3 of Americans want a ceasefire, so it's spitting in our face a little bit. Like what? What do you think you live in a democracy?
I don't understand what, Cenk, you're calling for then, because The world was called, some people are calling for a ceasefire, which also Israel is not gonna do. Just like you easily say, Hamas isn't gonna take that, Israel's not gonna take that. They've just suffered the worst attack in their history, and so they're going to try to
back 8 times over. So,
but it's not about payback. It's about an objective in the war.
Like it.
It's not. It's about an objective in the war.
What's the objective?
The objective is to get rid of Hamas, the terrorists.
Impossible. You know
impossible.
That's
so then they just give up. So then Israel just
it's
deals
not a matter
with
of giving
terrorists.
up, but like. It's an absurd goal. Like, is Hamas gonna raise their hand one day and go, okay, we give up?
Really? How did we get rid of the Nazis? How did we just defeat the Nazis?
Because those were a different time, Ben.
So now we can no longer defeat evil forces.
We couldn't defeat the Taliban. We couldn't defeat anybody in Iraq. We couldn't defeat the Sunni insurgency. We couldn't defeat the Vietnamese. Because in the old days, you defeated people by murdering everyone in their home. So people who say like, hey, how did we beat the Nazis? Yeah, we firebombed Dresden and killed 70% of the civilians. That includes 70% of the babies, the grandmothers, etc. I don't want to go back to those days.
Yeah, but those days, sadly, very sadly, are not over. That is how war works. You're just saying you're against war. Otherwise, what you're saying is that those are the old days. The new days are terrorists can do whatever they like. And then just with impunity, there'll be some payback for a few weeks, and then you get to stay in power.
No, so first of all, Hamas is never, ever going to say we give up. So if that's the standard, that means we're just gonna keep butchering Palestinian civilians.
But I do not buy the argument that there is ever gonna be a solution where you just say Hamas gets to win. And so I think a much smarter way to approach trying to get what you want.
They don't get to win, Ben. They don't get to win.
Smarter part, what I'm saying, a way to do that is to not demonize people that are responding from this horrible terror attack, but instead say, great, thank you for a 4-hour every single day during war humanitarian pause. Actually turn the rhetoric towards something that is more inclusive and more positive and say we are moving towards the right direction, not immediately on day one saying that's not real. Maybe it's a tiny bit real, but it's not real.
Ben, look, so we have massive disagreements. So when at one point they had about 8,000 civilians killed and 13 Hamas members killed.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
No, they weren't trying to bomb Hamas. They were doing indiscriminate bombings.
13 Hamas members killed. Where are you getting that number? Hamas does not distinguish in their numbers between Hamas soldiers and civilians.
Would I bomb them and kill those 9 civilians to get the bad guy?
Never. Never.
That's insanity. And Israel's saying, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about the ratio. I dropped the bombs, the buildings collapsed, the babies' heads are crushed. I dropped the bombs, the buildings collapsed, the babies' heads are crushed. I dropped the bombs, the buildings collapsed, the babies' heads are crushed. I dropped the bombs, the buildings collapsed, the babies' heads are crushed. I dropped the bombs.
But they are
Yay! Defense.
That is.
But they defend. That is.
They take the least amount of measures.
They make phone calls directly. They drop leaflets out of this
phone calls directly. They drop leaflets out of this
guy. They make multiple statements on social media and on television. They paused. They said 24 hours to escape. UN said it's impossible.
Escape to what? So that. Escape to what? It's an open-air prison.
You're still not ever suggesting concretely how you suggest that Israel lives in peace and possibly gets peace.
Can I answer, please?
Sure.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
This is super important.
End the goddamn occupation. End it.
How are you going to ask people to end an occupation that ended in 2005? And at least let's use words accurately, because I've seen too many times on this network people saying genocide when it is not one. People saying occupation when it is not one. But when the occupation ends, you say end the occupation. What are you asking for them to end it again? Should they go back in and then end it again? Is that the request?
Ben,
nobody's ever talked to me like that before.
It's called a blockade. It's called a blockade.
I'm not occupied.
It's called a blockade.
I can just murder you anytime I like, but I'm not occupied.
But it's not. What is your plan? Why aren't you telling Hamas right now, release the goddamn hostages, accept peace, make a peace agreement, put on paper, put your word, your money where your mouth is, and offer a solution. Don't just keep demonizing Israel and not offering a way to solve the goddamn problem, because that goes on forever.
Ben, being against the terrorists is obvious, okay? But
you have to stop imprisoning them.
Let's say they take New Jersey.
To banish you to Hoboken, New Jersey.
And they say, okay, now you're in an open air prison and none of you have any goddamn rights, and we get to put our
boot on your neck, and now you are servants. You're subhuman. Now you sit there, Texas, and take it. And if any of you ever fight back, you're all goddamn terrorists in Texas.
What do you think Texas would do? Texas would blow up, those Texas citizens would blow up every goddamn occupier, and you know it.
No, they would murder every occupier, and you know it.
How much patience can the Palestinians have? They're sitting there in the West Bank doing nothing. They've been perfectly peaceful.
And what did they get for the peace, man? What did they get for the peace? All they got was occupation. Just 56 years of occupation.
They've offered peace 6 times. 6 times. So
a bunch of people come over to Palestine and go, now you guys, this is your land, but we're planning to take half of it. So why don't you just give us half?
And move out of your freaking houses. We own that land now.
Oh, you didn't take it. Well, what a bunch of bad guys. I was gonna take your goddamn land and I was gonna make you march and then maybe die.
Oh, you didn't take what a generous offer that I gave you.
1948.
I'm gonna take half your land. Give me your land. You can stay. You get the hell out of here. I'm more important than you. Oh, you don't own your land anymore.
Well, you didn't take it? Why didn't you take it? What a lovely deal I gave you. Why only steal half your land?
They go, they should know that they're defeated. They should know that they are gonna stay occupied for the rest of time because they're savages.
Savages.
Idiots! Savages, idiots! Idiots!
Jesus Christ.
Israeli leadership are also savages. And at this point, they've been 7 times as savage as Hamas.
And anybody who can't see that is a savage and an idiot!
Okay.
Which if I'm an Israeli citizen, I'm sickened by that fact.
The numbers are horrible and it's in self-defense, and you know that's a difference. You know that's a big difference.
Yeah.
But they
Yay,
are
defense.
That is
Awesome.
Hey, it's Christmas time.
Like.
What are we doing here, Bappa?
Off Benny. Shout out to you.
Thank you.
Great show.
Great guy. Never met him.
Yeah.
out Benny to mix this up, mash this up, out Benny, mash this up in his TYT mashups, which are very entertaining, and I highly recommend you watch it. Out Benny.